IVM.
Before we start the episode, let me take a moment to suggest the Life of Science podcast to you. It's a traveling feminist science media project run by journalists Ashima Dogra and Nandita Jairaj, where they interview 5 amazing women scientists in India. They talk about their research, their journey, their work, and what it's like to be a woman scientist in India.
Hello and welcome to IVM Likes. My name is Naveen Narona. I'll be the host for today. With me in the studio, I have Janam and Priyanka.
Hi. Hi guys, what's up?
They're not the same voices as I mentioned them in that order, but you'll find out. It's okay. We are here sitting in the last week of Jan.
Yes.
We're the last week of Jan.
Long weekend.
Long weekend is coming.
Yes.
And we have been prepping for this, as we'll find out more about on this episode of IVM Likes. But first of all, we have a recommendation round because every weekend we take our time out to watch it and come back to the studio with new recommendations. So this week we're starting off with Priyanka.
Yeah, so I'm going to recommend a podcast called The Struggle Bus. This is a mental health and a self-care podcast. And usually a lot of people who've been listening to these self-care podcasts will tell you that they're extremely boring. But I've landed up with something called The Struggle Bus, which is hosted by 2 best friends called Catherine Heller and Sally Tamakrin. And one of them is a theatre artist and she's a consultant for podcasts anyway. So this comes very naturally to her. And I don't know too much about the other girl, but the interesting part is she's lesbian. And they're always talking, like if you just jump into any of the episodes, she'll be talking about her wife. So they begin the episodes talking about, things that they want to ramble about. And they'll say that, hey, we have a lot of opinions and a lot of emotions, what do we do with them? And so
put them on a podcast.
Yeah, just put them on a podcast, and that's what she says. So what she says that she's like, hey, let's just do this. Let's just share it with the world. And they get letters every week. Every episode they read them out, and they talk to people about their personal stuff. And and they are They are currently also doing their therapy, so it's ongoing. So they do their sessions, they come back.
Over the past few years, mental health has been really pushed to the main cultural focus, that this exists and people haven't been talking about it. Like my mom sometimes says that you all are dealing with depression now. In our time, we didn't have anything. We didn't have a term for it.
Yeah, we didn't know. They didn't know what to call it.
Yeah, so then, but they felt sad and they have sometimes men also feel low. This, as people call it, the male PMS syndrome.
That's thrown around so much. Are you PMS?
But there's no correct term for that. So we need to learn and understand what it's all about.
Yeah. But I feel depression is not just depression, it's also depression masked in the form of alcoholism, other...
It's an umbrella.
Yeah, exactly.
Of things, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So the only way people know of these terms is if you talk about it more. There's awareness. And, usually I'm sure a lot of doctors will tell us that people come to them and say, I'm feeling very lull. I'm feeling very dull. Like, what does this mean, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it just makes sense. And a lot of people who write to them, they're not saying we're depressed. We're just saying, what do we do with these issues? Yeah. And if it sticks to you for a really long time, that's when you're this gloomy person. And
it's a culmination of a lot of parameters also, like when you feel low or when you have a lot of anxiety or depression. And the funniest meme I saw about this was somebody saying, hey, why could you just feel happy and be okay? And it's like, okay, would you say that the same thing to an amputee? Say, you just put your hand back together and it's okay. So that's not how it works. You have to really have conversations around mental illness. Great. So the podcast is called?
The Struggle Bus.
The Struggle Bus.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where can we check it out if you want to find it?
On any podcasting platform, iTunes, Stitcher.
Oh.
Yeah.
I actually, when you said it was hosted by 2 best friends, I actually love it when 2 best friends get together and do something. So it reminded me of another show I watched. It's called Broad
Great
City.
Segue.
No, Broad City.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen Broad City.
Okay, so it started off by these 2 girls who are best friends, and then they were just so funny off screen. They were like, hey, why don't we just go on air and make a show out of it?
This is a podcast?
No,
No,
it's a show.
Okay,
it's a
TV show.
Yeah,
it's about 2 girls surviving in New York and their love and life and all that.
Yeah.
It's very explicit, it's very in your face, but it's very fun also.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of any mental health podcasts in the recent past or anything?
Well, we had one at IVM, The Place of Mind.
Yeah.
Which was nice because it was an anthology series of 4 stories told through perspectives of people.
Great plug.
Yeah, we're good at this. Alright, next up we have Janam.
So, My recommendation is a book called Learning How to Fly by Abdul Kalam. It's basically a compilation of his speeches he's given at different educational institutes around the world. So these speeches are actually addressing the youth of society. Not just the country, but just generally. So it's very inspiring, it's very enlightening. He also, what I loved about the book is he's given 5, like the book itself has 5 recommendations. He's listed down 5 books which he was told to read, and he read them and how they changed his life. And these are like, 5 must-read books.
So Janam is giving you 6 books for the price of 1.
Yeah, right.
Great. Bumper.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks. Learning How to Fly by
Abdul Kalam.
What is your recommendation, Naveen?
Okay, thanks for asking, Priyanka. Thought I would never be asked. My recommendation for today is a film called Logan Lucky. It came out in 2017, and one of the reasons this movie didn't become famous because there was a movie called Logan already in the same year. So the movie is hilarious. It stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, and Katie Holmes. Big names. The story is about this guy called Jimmy Logan, played by Channing Tatum, who's down on his luck, and he decides to do a heist. Okay, basically by stealing NASCAR race money. Okay, so his brother Adam Driver, the character, does not have one arm, which plays beautifully into the plot.
Okay.
They need to blow up some stuff, so they call Daniel Craig, who's a blow up expert, and his 2 brothers also come along.
What is a blow up expert?
Yeah,
like
basically
suicide
like he blows shit up, like for like heist purposes.
Oh.
So he's an expert at that. So he's in jail, and so now basically they have to make sure that he comes out of jail, does the heist, and then goes back to jail in time before the riot in the jail ends. So it's like a big plan that, like, very, very Ocean's 11 sort of stuff.
Plotty.
Yeah. So given that the director is Steven Soderbergh, you expect great dialogue and great, pacing and stuff like that. The actors have like great on-point dialogue work because it's all like Southern American. Yeah, I'm gonna do something bad, like that kind of stuff. I do very bad impression of that. But overall, the movie has a great story arc, and in the end, it's a very fun ending also. Like, you should check it out. Hilary Swank comes in for a short while. It's not like a surprise or anything. It's actually there in the IMDb cast list.
Okay, I thought you were giving a spoiler.
No, she's a detective who's basically investigating the crime.
Oh.
So it's a fun, brisk watch. Check it out, and so that's my recommendation. Logan Lucky from the movie from the year 2017.
Awesome, cool.
So let's round up our recommendations quickly. Priyanka, you said?
The Struggle Bus, it's a podcast.
Okay.
Learning How to Fly by Abdul Kalam, it's a book.
And my recommendation is Logan Lucky, a movie. We'll be back in the second round of this podcast discussing how to binge.
Hi, I'm Ambika.
I'm Hoshna. Over the last couple of years during our travels across India, we've had the privilege to meet and interact with a number of passionate people who are involved in preservation or conservation of a local heritage, art form or culture, or even environment and wildlife.
So in this season, we shine a light on some of these individuals and organizations and the work they are doing, many of whom are using travel as a means to give back to their communities.
By showcasing these wonderful people and bringing their work to a larger audience, it's our small way of aiding their effort and giving you an opportunity to be part of a unique travel experience. New episodes of the Rediscovery Podcast out every Monday on IVM Podcasts.
Welcome back to IVM Likes. Here we are in the studio discussing our recommendations. And this past week, both of you all have seen me losing my sanity because of a reality show I've been watching called
Losing
RuPaul's.
sleep, sanity, all of it.
All of it. And usually I'm not this scattered, but the show called RuPaul's Drag Race has taken over my life.
Yeah.
It's a very famous reality show where basically drag queens dress up and do a bunch of challenges. It's a lot of fun, a lot of sass. But what happens during these times is I lose my entire mental capacity to interact with people on normal level because I am looking at every opportunity to go and watch the show. So I have the episodes downloaded on my Netflix, on YouTube and everywhere else basically to just have a ready source of entertainment at any given point.
Okay.
Which I realize the way you're staring at me right now is that
it's a lot of planning for binge.
Yeah, so I think we need to set down some parameters today on how to be a good binge watcher. Good binger. The harbinger of good binger.
Yeah.
So I think what I usually do a lot is I make sure that I have a very comfortable spot wherever I'm sitting to watch a movie or a TV show because I need to have enough of that to watch first of all. So first of all, you should go and check out if there's 5 or 10 seasons worth of material.
Yeah.
Time your episodes out accordingly. So when you can take your bathroom breaks and your bath breaks accordingly. So what do you guys do to prep for it?
I mean, I don't usually prep, so if there's some content that just comes up that is worth binging, then it's great. Also, it works if you don't have a job, then you're during the week.
I love that part between jobs.
Yeah.
When you're just binging on all the shows
you're
you
like,
didn't
what's
get to
going
watch,
on? Yeah. And your content has to be a reason, right? So I remember 13 Reasons Why was my reason. So I remember for those for like those 3, okay, so I would give 7 hours. Like 2 days, I finished the entire season. I was done. Also, that I was not working. So I was like, great, I'm not going to move. Because it was that kind of show that if you look the other, you look around and you're going to lose, you're going to forget. You have to keep following it. And
but has a show ever taken over your life so much that you've given up responsibilities? Like, I have cancelled shows.
No.
I've skipped work days. I've not gone to college and stuff like that. When Breaking Bad finale was happening, I didn't go to college because I was like, I'm going to watch this and then I'm going to cry about it for like 2 hours. So I didn't want to go to college. I didn't read because...
Maybe not to that extent.
I'm
not
Sharanya's
also
not
because
here.
it was college. Also because it was college, right? You won't do that to your job. You won't be like, I'm not going to have you.
Of
course, you
I've done that.
have.
Very crazy. Yeah, I see. So first of all, when you do all of these things, right? When you take a day off, I have to tell my mom specifically, ki today no other task, no chores, no.
Is that why you wrote you're working from home on Monday?
So my mom will be like, what, like dhania leke and all that. So I'm like, today no dhania duty. I'm gonna sit and watch. And so I know that my mom has also given up on me now at this point, because there was a time in her life where she would like at 1 a.m. come and tell me, stop watching and go to sleep.
Yeah.
But now I spend till 5 a.m. when she's waking up. I'm there, on my laptop. Like, did you ever sleep? I'm like, no. Like, okay, cool.
But how do you manage to do that on weekdays? Yeah, like usually.
I don't know, man. I just do. I don't even drink caffeine anymore. It's just like it's become a thing now. But so when I get obsessed, it's really like it takes over my mind, and like one more episode, man, I gotta like it's like a drug, like rush,
Because you have your reason in your mind. You're like, I want to watch this because this gives me some sort of like content satisfaction that I'm really interested.
So I'll give you an example of RuPaul. Why I love the shows, because they have certain episodes which are like pre-planned every season. Like they have to do that episode for every season. So one thing is called Snatch Game, where all the drag queens dress up in their favorite female idols' clothes and they try to emulate them in a very funny game.
Like Beyonce and all.
Yeah, like Beyonce, Britney Spears, and they do it so good. Like one guy came as Cher and like he was killing it. Wow. And at the same time, they have one more game called. Like they have to transform someone every season. So they could be like athletic butch queens, or they could be military men, or they could be straight men, or they could be older gay men. So they have to basically bring them also into the drag culture and like train them to become like drag queens. And walk them on the ramp. So it's like only 1 week they get to do the entire thing, and I'm just like, oh my god, how are they going to look at the end, or how are they going to turn this out? So it's a lot of the dedication to want to be able to see every season's special episode, and every season there's one queen who stands out in general. So you want to follow her arc. Where when will she get out? Or will she win the competition? You don't know. You become like
So
so
I think this segment has become another round of recommendations.
For RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah. So for me, binge watching is actually like the planning I do is it happens exclusively on weekends, especially when I'm working, only on weekends and at nights. I cannot binge watch during the day because there's just so much disturbance and family members and a lot of things to do. So night is the time I binge watch, and the things I need around me while binge watching is a blanket, chargers, like phone chargers, laptop chargers, everything has to be, and I have to be near a plug point because I don't want to move. And just basic things.
I've done like Mission Impossible stunts with like my legs and stuff just to get the wire close to me.
Yeah, I have actually plugged in a charger inside a socket with my toe.
And survived somehow.
Yeah. And my cats, like they just add the more cozy element to binge watching. So most of them just come, like most night there are just 2 of them. So they just come and like cuddle up with me and
like the
watch.
Crazy binge watch lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also works to not have your domestic help around. Like, in the mornings they're like,
You don't say that about your mom, yeah.
No, I'm not. I mean, they do a great job, but when you're half in your sleep and the only thing you have with you is a laptop, you have like someone shutting the fan and like sneakily taking off your bedsheet because they want to wrap it and like keep it. And
no one does that, by the way. When you take a blanket off you and fold it and keep it aside.
Yeah, my mom's like, you're awake, yaar. Come on, like push the curtains. I was like, no, can you please?
Yeah, man, my mom doesn't get cozy. Like there's a small slit in my window from where if somebody turns a light on in the opposite building, the light comes on my face. So I close the curtain, and she every time she comes into my room, she'll open the curtain, like let the air, let the room air out. It's thinking like so bad. I'm like, yeah, because I've been not taking a bath and just like watching this shit, mom. Like, why don't you get the point?
I think our the people around us, right? Our parents, our this prep list has to go to them also.
Yeah,
you also
exactly.
prep, we'll also prep. Yeah.
And man, like on days, if you're like, for example, if you have a day off, for example, 26th January, great day for us to be binge watching.
Right.
I'm sorry, nationalists. But it's great because I wake up at 10 a.m. without me wanting to wake up at 10 a.m. on Republic Day because my neighbors are blaring "Ye Mere Watan Ke Logo." So I'm like, I have to now put on my best speakers and listen to or watch something. So when I'm watching, if on that day internet connection goes off or something happens, I lose my shit, dude. I have cursed at aunties at MTNL for like days on end because they have been not able to fix my internet. And that's a big crippling factor in today's time and age. Sometimes torrents comes handy, right? For that very reason, that you keep it ready on your laptop for like later viewing. But in this time of streaming and everything, like Netflix is just available, or Amazon Prime is also always available.
Yeah.
So you can just watch stuff of that show, of that streaming site. So why would you spend more time downloading stuff? So it just makes sense for me to like have a active internet connection, So MTNL, I hope you're listening. I don't know why would you listen, but.
Yeah, but they won't have the internet connection themselves to listen. No? That's most likely the case.
Shady.
But what's the last thing you guys have couldn't stop binging? Yeah.
Mimi, I was watching Stranger Things before I took up this job. So I watched it. I watched both the seasons in 2 days. So
nice.
like one season per day, which was like 12 hours a day. I was just, I don't know how many hours.
It's possible.
Yeah. So luckily I was alone at home. Like my family was away for an entire week. So I had the house to myself and no disturbance except my cats who wanted food now and then. So I just took breaks to like feed them and feed myself. That's all.
Yeah, you just said Drag Race is what you've been watching.
That's currently what I'm binging on. Uske pehle I finished Troll Hunter, which Abbas had recommended a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, so mainly if I stumble upon a good show, I won't leave any stone unturned to basically get to the end of it and somehow, be able to be the first guy to say, hey, I finished it. Did you finish it? No. I have this, I don't know, it's a small ego thing.
I love that sass on your face. But I think another really good opportunity for binge watching is a breakup, guys, because you have this void and you need to fill it. And then what do? You just watch.
But then again,
there's
a problem.
And hours.
Because then
you don't have someone to cuddle with.
No.
Then
I never cuddle with anybody and watch it. But I feel that's the worst thing to do. Like, trying to cuddle and watch because some people are handsy. So, like, I don't want somebody, like, touching me while I'm watching shit. Like, I'm just, like, happy with my own stuff. Like, if Janam's cats come by, I'll be like, okay. Cats understand. They're furry, at least. What is the fun about human skin?
Hairy skin. Furry.
Yeah, I think.
Fine. We're grossing people out now.
But the point I was trying to make is that when you're comfortably resting and you're watching this stuff, and, for example, something happens in the show that's, like, some love affair and everything, so it brings you back to that point. My breakup just happened. Everything in the story is about my life and what happened with her. Yeah.
That's if you're like really upset and this is like the.
But maybe if you're having a breakup, you pick a show that's not about breakups.
That's a difficult part as well.
You can be happy. Yeah, but
you can watch like Parks and
See,
Rec
normal people like us, Priyanka, fall in love and are really hurt when we break up. Unlike you, who just like, okay, so I'm just gonna fill this void with TV shows.
I'm just saying it's a great way to look at it. Everything can't be about like, I'm sad.
Okay, cool. You clearly never had a breakup, have you?
Oh, let's not get there.
Even water
people are
reminds you of the
listening to
person,
this show.
So?
What?
So all our personal lives are out there right now. Doesn't matter.
Okay, bye.
Even if you don't tell us on the podcast, like the government already knows because of your
Aadhaar. That's our next episode, guys. Yeah.
Cool. So let's wind this up.
Cool. We better wind this up.
And let's go watch some shit now. The long weekend's almost here. Thank you so much for listening in, guys. This is IVM Likes. We are on all the social media platforms. If you want to talk to us, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at IVM Podcast. I am on Twitter as @no_Rona. Talk to me as well if you want to.
I am on Twitter as @Priyanka1091.
And I'm on Twitter as @Janam Devan.
Okay. Priyanka, Beverly Hills or something, like 9 or 10.
No.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
There she stands, a podcast addict. Outside the bank, having travelled several miles to get in with other poor souls like her. The journey, though daunting for this youngling, will have some comfort because she has downloaded her favorite podcast. You can see more of her species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.